early 90s. I'm 10 years old, and I love football. And the three of Milan, these three, look at them, how beautiful they are. They've won again the night before. I peer out of my window, of my white back door window. I see the dew over the grass. It's 7:30 in the morning. I see my worn-out football halfway through our garden. But I only have a focus on that gap between the brick wall that separates our terrace house from that of our elderly neighbor and the green hedge, because there is what my viewing point on the world is. That's where the neighbor's newspaper sticks. This one. And before I tell you more about the importance of the neighbor's newspaper on my life, I would like to pop a quiz question. With all these bright minds in this lovely audience, that cannot be very hard, but I want to set a deal with you. If you answer correctly, then I will give you a beer, but if you don't, then all of you will give me many beers with an S. So let's try. What does this downward trend stand for? What is this line about? Sam. I'll help you a little bit to start with. This talk is about inequality, and the subject is the neighbor's newspaper. So help me out. What is this about?
Number of newspaper subscriptions.
The number of newspaper subscriptions? No, it's not. Almost, but it's not. A second guess? Sales? No, it's not. So all of you owe me many beers because it is the railway in our city. It divides the northern part from the southern part. And the expression, the tracks, behind the tracks or behind the railways, is very well known in this city. And if you take that literally, then it depends on where you are situated, where your location is geographically. But it's less about your location and more about your social economic status. And in this self-declared egalitarian country that for decades has declared to be and preached to be very equal, some even say that we're a paradise for life chances, let's just look at facts. This is my part of town. 20% of low literacy, 41% of the people feeling ill in my part of town, high percentages of people feeling insecure and unsafe in the neighborhood. Does that look like paradise to you? Does it? I don't think so. There is a very big gap between children growing up at my part of town and their friends just a couple of kilometers away. And I would like that gap to be unique for this city, because then we wouldn't have a very big problem in the rest of the country. But it's not. It's an iron curtain that runs through our society, that actually goes from Heerlen to Rotterdam, from Eindhoven to Amsterdam, and Groningen to Arnhem. Lucinda Williams wrote and sang a beautiful song about this theme, the east side of town. My east side of town is actually the north side of town. At my part of town, if you're born and growing up there as a kid, you get unhealthy 15 years younger than your friends just a couple of kilometers away, growing up in a rich family. You die, on average, 6 years younger than your friend just a couple of kilometers away in a rich family. If that would unfortunately happen to me, then you can blame my adoration and addiction to frikandellen. Because I absolutely adore the Dutch delicacy of recycled and separated meat. But what on earth can a kid born today and growing up today in Zeswegen, in the neighborhood where I grew up, what can that kid do about the too low wages of its parents? What can that kid do about the prices of a pack of 20 frozen frikandels being cheaper than fresh vegetables? What can a kid do about that? What can the kid do about the mold, the unhealthy mold in the house rented from the housing corporation? What can a kid today, born today or growing up today in the northern part of this city do about that? Do you think it's strange that we in the northern part of the city are a little bit suspicious about the institutions? Is it surprising that we vote less often? Do you think it's strange that we are hesitating when it comes to vaccination? Are you really surprised? Early 90s, I run outside. I grabbed the newspaper from the gap in the hatch. I start browsing directly to the sports page. Italian football, Serie A to be exact. And they've done it again. They've done it again. I mean, those fantastic, beautiful players, they've won again. My neighbor, my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Neighbor, obviously that's not her real name, but we call her that because on a very lovely tone, and she's very lovely. Initially, she decides to stick the newspaper, the local newspaper, just through the hatch after important matches. But after a while, she decides that her judgment on what is or is not an important match is grossly inadequate. And I agree. And I may have stimulated that thought after 1 minute after she forgot, ringing her front door, seeing her in her pajamas, asking her on a very lovely tone, Mrs. Neighbor, have you already read the newspaper today? She replied wittily, after I wake up, young man. After that moment, she sticks the newspaper each and every day through the hatch, through the fence and the hatch. And I've never had the chance to actually thank Mrs. Neighbor. And I would like to thank her, because she was actually standing at the very source of my love for reading. I learned sentences that I wasn't aware of. I learned about rhetorics. I learned about letters sent in. I learned that reading was also participation. It even took me on a journey through a bend around Milan or other European cities where Van Basten, Gullit and Rijkaard would have won. If they didn't win, I was less interested. But through a bend around Milan, I would learn about other places in the world, about the Netherlands, about my city, about my neighborhood, and even about my own street. I learned through the newspaper of the neighbor about my own street, things I didn't know before. So the alma mater, my alma mater, is not the university I attended. A fine university, just 30 kilometers from here. But not the university I attended, but my neighbor's newspaper is my real alma mater. It taught me to speak a language I wouldn't have spoken otherwise. It taught me about places I wouldn't have known about otherwise. And actually, it learned me about the word inclusive way before that word ever belonged to the public debate. It closed the gap of reliable information, and it actually gave me a voice. And I'm raising that voice now, because it's very important. It's now or never. So I ask you, wouldn't it be a good idea, wouldn't it be a great idea, if we would put and stick the newspaper through each and every hatch, fence, and smartphone? And I know that would cost millions, so there are some obstacles. But wouldn't it be at least a good idea to put it through each and every fence, hatch, and smartphone when it comes to young families with upcoming children? Wouldn't it be a good idea to at least close the gap of reliable information, of separating facts from fakes, quality journalism from bullshit, so to speak? Wouldn't it be at least a good idea to start reading the local newspaper each and every morning at our schools and inviting our parents to read along? And whatever you think or hold to be possible or impossible, we must dream big. We must dream big, because the challenge is big too. The gap of reliable information is huge. And if we want to fill that gap, we have to act now. Let's face the facts. Out of 1 resident in Zeswegen, my neighborhood, and the neighborhood in which I grew up, 10 residents of Welte, in the southern part of this city, 1 out of 10 access to the local newspaper. And therefore, 1 resident in Zeswegen casts a vote, participates at a local election equaling 4 in Welte. Is that sustainable? Is that healthy? Is it fair that therefore Zeswegen's story is not as good as heard as Welten's story? Is it sustainable? Is it healthy? Do we think it's fair? I don't think so. The Neighbors newspaper has enriched my life. It has. It even allows me now to speak in a foreign language in my own city, reaching out to academics at the other side of the planet. And that is absolutely amazing, no doubt about that. I salute you, I salute the people at the other side of the planet, the academics at the other side of the planet. But this is not about charity. This is about dignity. This is not about individual life chances. This is about a collective challenge. So not only academics at the other side of the planet, but also essential workers at the other side of the tracks, at both sides of the tracks, should have access to reliable information, to quality journalism. Not only academics, but also cleaners, janitors, postal deliverers, home care workers, like you see on this beautiful version of the Night Watch of Rembrandt. They should have reliable information too. So we can complete our collective story with the stories unknown. So we can fill the invisible blank pages in this wonderful local newspaper. So we can actually teach you, academics and professors, a language you don't speak. We can teach you about the stories you don't know. We can give you the knowledge you don't have yet. So start spreading the news. Today, now or never, start spreading the news through all the fences, hatches, and smartphones of the world in all of our communities. So I can finally say, thank you, Mrs. Neighbor. Thank you.